Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here on the show. I'm gonna pre-record 2 videos and then upload them some point on Tuesday when I get up. And I'll do a news video. I'm just gonna do my mock draft here, and then I'll do after this MLB season preview. Upload those 2 videos some point, and then I'll do a news video on Tuesday. I'm not gonna do much. There isn't anything I want to do besides those 3 videos to talk about. Let's get into the mock draft though. Raiders, obviously Mendoza, Fernando Mendoza, quarterback. Last pit stops on Mendoza's march. It's their pro day. No, first fitting league, you'd have to be a fool to put much stock in to what he does in that day, given what he demonstrated throughout the national title run. Bill, at least make for some pre-draft fodder and give Raiders fans another glimpse at their future signal caller, which I think, getting Clint Kubiak as their head coach will benefit him as well. So, now let's get to the Jets. Arvell Reese, linebacker / defensive end. Much of Darren Mogi and Aaron Glenn's free agency focus seem to be insinuating a ground floor of the defense with at least 6 new starters, like ushered in veteran acquisitions. Now it's time to add someone to actually move the needle. Reese remains a project as a full-time pass rusher, yet he's fully worthwhile one, giving the double-digit sack potential. Number 3, Cardinals, David Bailey, outside linebacker / defensive end. It's tempting to look at Arizona's unresolved issue at right tackle into projects as a solution here, but the Cardinals made clear in free agency that they're not rushing a return to legitimacy, so maximizing long-term value has to be the priority. Taking Bailey might be a solid step toward that goal, as they'd give the defense another cornerstone while the offense waits to get it built off the ground. Now it's Titans. Sonny Styles, linebacker. A true off-ball linebacker hasn't landed this high in the draft since Aaron Curry went number 4 overall to the Seahawks in 2000. It's going to be neither Titans nor Styles want to keep, but there's still reason for the team to take a plunge here, especially with the 2 top pass rushers already claimed. Robert Saleh, their new coach, knows what a hyper-athletic and ultra-savvy linebacker can unlock for a defense after his time with Fred Warner in San Francisco. While that's a lofty comparison for an incoming rookie, Styles does size up as a singular prospect at his position and one capable of being a true difference maker for a defense. Jeremiah Love to the Giants here at 5Q. The Saquon Barkley jokes. The scrutiny of Joe Shane would only intensify if the team bets big on a game-changing back tears after watching one lead. But it's a new day for under John Harbaugh. While the offense on the upswing, they could actually be poised to take advantage of the full scope of Jeremiah Love's explosive talent. Really good. I think it's where they'll go here. The Browns, Monroe Freeling, with deficiencies running rampant throughout the roster. The Browns aren't in a place to force picks based on need, but it would hardly be surprised if a team that paid a serious premium throughout March to reconfigure its offensive line looked to wrap up the effort in April with the left tackle. Though he's still finding his footing, often quite literally, after just 1 year as a full-time starter. Freeling offers the frame and the athleticism that tend to entice teams into rolling the dice. Like a prominent pass protector, that's something the Browns need. They've definitely improved their offensive line, though. And Monroe Freeling would even help it. So, the Commanders here at 7, Caleb Downs. After indulging in another spending spree, they no longer appear to be the lock that they once were to take a defense player with Jeremiah Love and Carnell Tate both stand as potential considerations, but Adam Peters can import Downs to equip new coordinator Dante Jones with a high versatile tone setter and a final piece of the offseason overhaul. Number 8, the Saints, Carnell Tate. No longer weighed down by having bounced their books, the Saints got really aggressive by fortifying their offense with Travis Etienne and David Edwards, players offensively. That effort won't be complete, however, until the team finds another true up and put alongside Chris Olave. Tate can make life significantly easier for Tyler Shale, second-year signal caller with his reliable route running and a knack for coming down with some contested catches. Number 9, the Chiefs, Reuben Bain. Their concerted effort to return to contender ranks has entailed a lot of moves that help the franchise, but the Chiefs need to break from their formula to get their pass rush right. Though Bain doesn't resemble the type of rangy edge presence Steve Spagnuolo and Brett Veach have typically gravitated towards, his extensive track record of creating havoc suggests he would be a force capable of elevating an uneven front four. I would have said running back here, but they got Kenneth Walker in the offseason, so I'm going to say defensive end. Number 10, Dylan Thieneman to the Bengals. Downs has been one of my choices for Cincinnati, and he will be a no-brainer for a defense that still might like someone to take charge. But could the Bengals simply look to another safety if their first choice is already gone? Dylan Thieneman might seem like a stretch here to many, but tearing deep shots with a rangy and instinctive coverage ace would go a long way towards curing several of this unit's most pressing ills. Number 11, the Dolphins. Francis Mauigoa, offensive tackle / guard. Dealing away Jalen Waddle drove home that the Dolphins are probably working on an even more extended timeline than anyone was anticipating after the first wave of free agents. And any organization taking a long view likely will find itself drawn to building along the lines. He can help their offensive line. Offense flip from finesse focus to forceful with his punishing blows to all comers. Number 12, the Cowboys, Mansour Delane. He's the good kind of boring. He's just so reliable and consistent in coverage that the unanimous All-American discouraged anyone from testing him. That's the kind of profile that could transform a defense that was the wrong kind of captivating last season. The Rams, Micaiah Lemon, a receiver. Much of the conversation surrounding their offseason was centered around their efforts towards another title push for Matthew Stafford. Here, however, that notion isn't at odds with serving their long-term interest. Lemon would give the passing attack a needed option as well as an eventual replacement of Devontae Adams, along with Puka Nacua, a really good 1-2 threat. And they traded for a corner this offseason, Trent McDuffie, so it's kind of why I'm saying receiver. The Ravens, Ola Vega, how the fuck you say his name? Own a guard out of Penn State. After the failed Max Crosby trade, they've tried to turn the noise down surprisingly volatile offseason. They can boost the effort to settle down by snagging him a major source of stability on the interior. They got Trey Hendrickson, so they don't need to go draft an edge. This is who I pick here. And they lost Linderbaum. The Buccaneers, Akeem Mesidor, defensive end. An edge rusher will be 25 when selected. Might not seem like top 15 material. Many teams not get it, but the Bucs surely will appreciate his refined approach to pass rushing as well as the immediate contributions he can try and make to this team to try and climb back to the top of that division. Number 16, the Jets, Jordan Tyson, receiver. To position the quarterback of the future for sustained success and safeguard against Geno Smith going off the rails again, just need to take a long look at this year's receiver class with their second day one selection. With Tyson in the fold, that would really help the aerial attack with Garrett Wilson. Number 17, the Lions, Spencer Furneaux. Rather dire situation up front for Detroit doesn't seem likely to be answered other than with a first-round pick. The most straightforward option for the Lions might be to move Penei Sewell to the left side to cover for the Taylor Decker divorce and then grab the best right tackle available in this scenario. There's little question that it would be Furneaux, an agile blocker to counter the modern NFL pass rusher. Number 18, the Vikings, Jamal McCoy. A spotty track record of drafting cornerbacks has made Minnesota secondary something for Balfour to overcome rather than unleash. McCoy has plenty to prove at his March 31st pro day after missing all of last year with a torn some ligament and then sitting out the combine workouts, but he can solidify the outlook for the Vikings on the exterior and create additional opportunities for Flores to utilize him to his full potential, because that dude's a good defensive coordinator. Number 19, the Panthers, Kenyon Sadiq. And scoring a bargain was Rasheed Walker on his one-year deal. The Panthers answer their most glaring pre-draft question. Well, that matters all. They can get creative with Sadiq, who can open up the offense as a seam threat while also doing plenty of heavy lifting for Bryce Young, both as a run after catch threat and a blocker in the run game. Number 20, Cowboys, C.J. Allen, linebacker. They would almost certainly be going against the grain with this selection. Safe to say, however, that Jerry Jones probably doesn't care about breaking from consensus on evaluations of positional value. Like, C.J. Allen fill a fairly sizable void at the second level, while also giving kind of a savvy run stopper, which the Cowboys need. Number 21, the Steelers, Caden Proctor, hitting holes at receiver Michael Pittman and cornerback Jamel Dean. Afforded Pittsburgh of flexibility entering the draft. Proctor could come aboard as a punishing presence as a day one starter at guard, while giving the team additional option at tackle down the line if maybe at guard doesn't work. Chargers, T.J. Parker, defensive end / outside linebacker. Even with Khalil Mack back for another season, it's time to plan for the future, right? That won't include the 35-year-old. Parker would give the Bolts pass rush well stocked after Odafe Oweh's departure and give Jim Harbaugh eventual replacement. The Eagles, Keldrick Falk, defensive end. Howie Roseman has never wanted to box himself in and chase a positional shortcoming during the draft, but their failed efforts to re-sign Jalen Phillips and Trey Hendrickson spoke volumes, and to be able to land them spoke volumes about the team's priorities, while the Eagles also couldn't look an offensive line. Falk might be enticed if he makes it this far. The Browns, I'm going to say Omar Cooper. Another year of quarterback purgatory, only Hines to need to find offensive pieces who can create. Though Cooper's the biggest, 6 foot, 199, he's prolific after the catch and sets himself apart from the Browns' in-house options with his rugged style. Number 25, the Bears. Emmanuel McNeil Warren out of Toledo. Brian Poles already demonstrated that he's willing to pay a premium for playmaking ability, safety for hitting. Kobe Bryant, a 3-year, $40 million deal. He can complete this team's transformation, grabbing McNeil Warren. He's a really good run stopper who's also considerable upside in matching up against imposing tight ends in the NFC North. Let's go number 26, the Bills. Cassius Howell, outside linebacker. Bradley Chubb is at best a band-aid for an edge rush, lacking much of anything outside Greg Rousseau. Buffalo may have to live with some early inconsistencies, but Howell's burst and bend can come in extremely handy for a defense that doesn't look entirely suited to new coordinator Jim Leonard's scheme. I think Cassius Howell is a really good player. Number 27, the 49ers, Caleb Bloomer, offensive tackle out of Utah. Regardless of how the bubbling Truett Williams drama resolves, San Francisco has to enact some sort of succession plan for protecting Brock Purdy's blind side. Having Bloomer face the NFC West various bullies on the edge might make for a rough introduction to the NFL, but a patient approach to his development can make him a talented pass protector. And I just think he's peaked because I don't know if Trent Williams is going to be in the 49ers, honestly. Texans, Blake Miller, offensive tackle to Clemson. Reconfiguring that offensive line has been the running theme of their offseason, with Braden Smith and Wyatt Taylor arriving to solidify that starting line. The effort might not stop there. However, Blake Miller, who started 54 games at Clemson, who can really help as well. Chiefs, Colton Hill, Trent McDuffie, and Jalen Watson off to Los Angeles. The Chiefs are once again relying on their young established tracker record, developing young corner right, with third-rounder Noah Williams in line for a starting spot by adding Hood. However, Kansas City can prove its hopes of avoiding costly breakdowns in the secondary. Number 30, the Dolphins. They got this pick from that Jalen Waddle trade. Denzel Boston. They get a receiver from Malik Willis, 6'4", 212. He would add a distinct and sorely lacking flavor as a jump ball winner. Number 31, the Patriots, Zion Young, defensive end / outside linebacker. 6'6", 262 pound force who just displays opponents in every phase of the game. And the number 3 Chill say the Seahawks, Avion Terrell. This spot looks right for a trade, especially with the Seahawks only having 4 picks and likely needing to use one a potential lead back. But if Seattle stays put, the defending champs could be drawn to replenishing in secondary that kept Josh Jobe, but they lost Tariq Woolen. With his comfort operating in a variety of looks, Terrell would further Mike Macdonald's efforts to remain flexible on the back end. But, yeah, that's really have to say for this video, ladies and gentlemen, for this mock draft. So, my 8.0 mock draft. So, leave a like and subscribe for more. Peace.